Hello, everybody. Hello. Guess who? Yes, it's me. It's Matt. And I'm back. And I have a cool video for you today, folks. Cool video. Get it now, brothers and sisters. Get it now. Peace and love. Peace and love. Brand new book I'm going to review today, folks. And I'm going to say it right off the bat. I love this book. I highly, highly recommend it. This is a cool book, a unique book, a book you're not going to see very often in the realm of the Beatles, okay? This has it all. If you are a fan of fantasy, do you like fantasy stories? I know I do. Do you like science fiction? I do. I love science fiction. Do you love the Beatles? Well, I would hope so. If you're watching this right now, you must be a Beatles fan. And you know I'm a Beatles fan. And last but not least, do you like time travel stories? I know I do. Okay, going back to when I was a little kid and seeing that movie, what was it called? The Time Machine. You remember that movie in 1960 or 61? Woohoo! When I was a kid, man, that movie was like it for me. And ever since then, anytime I can get a book about time travel, anytime I can see a movie or a TV show about time travel, I'm there. I love that stuff. Love it. And, you know, some of us have talked about time travel before in our personal contacts and stuff like that. And you know how much I love time travel, fantasy, science fiction, the Beatles, John Lennon. It's all here, folks. Brand new book called St. John Lennon. St. John Lennon by Daniel Hartwell with Roseanne Batone. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Dan and Roseanne. I hope you have your last names correct. But this is a great brand new Beatles related book, folks, to get. Please, I highly recommend it. And here, you can get it on Amazon. Get it now. Here's the front of the little ad also they sent with the book. Cool little ads they sent me. I'll tell you what, I'll show you their cards right now before I forget. There's Daniel's, if you want to reach out to him. I hope you can see that okay. I really hope it's coming in all right. And here's Roseanne's. Okay. Really nice people, two really cool people. They even signed the book for me. Both of them signed the book. And folks, let me tell you, you can get this at www.stjohnlennon.com. I believe in the little ad here, it's down below there. www.stjohnlennon.com. Folks, they got, oh, by the way, they got some cute little fictitious reviews of the book back here. I'll let you, if you get the book, see those, but they're really funny. You've got Ringo gives a review, and Paul gives a review, and Oprah Winfrey, and they even got a cute one from John. It says, "This is the best book ever written about me, John Lennon." I love that. I love these little cute fictitious reviews back here. Folks, we all know, okay, let me put it this way. It's a serious topic to start. We all know what happened on December 8th, 1980. I don't even want to revisit it too long here. I just want to mention we know what that date signifies. We know what happened. Probably one of the most tragic, sad events that could have happened in any of our lives, aside from losing a family member or a loved one very close to us. When we lost John that day, it just was devastating beyond compare, devastating beyond belief, and something I know I'll never totally get over, and something I'll always wonder in my heart, what if? You know, what if? What if it never happened? What if it could have been prevented? I think the world would be different today. I really, truly, in my heart, believe that the loss of one individual like that, not even John, any people that we lose, people touch so many lives individually. They make such an impact on others' lives that when we lose somebody, the ripple effect just can't even be measured. It's just, you can't even fathom it. It's just so extreme what devastation it can cause to lose somebody wide-ranging. And so certainly with John, when we lost him on December 8th, 1980, it's a tough topic. It's definitely affected the way the world went forward and where the world is today. And I really, truly, in my heart, believe that if John had lived, the world would be different. I don't know what the world exactly would be like, but I know John would have tried to make it a better place and would have done his part to make beautiful music and entertain his fans, and just, you know this, you know that. So just that serious note I want to start with. But if you want to put the world aside for a minute, lock out the world for a minute and the way it is, and you want to have a little cool fantasy, science fiction, time travel, Beatles story, please, folks, get St. John Lennon by Daniel Hartwell and Roseanne Baton. Get it now, okay? Picture it's December 8th, 2020. And I'm not going to give you the whole story here, I promise. I'm just going to give you the highlights and why I love this book so much. It's December 8th, 2020. And in a flash, in the blink of an eye, John reappears through a time travel warp or rift in the time continuum. I won't even say how it all works and everything. John Lennon, 40 years to the day, is brought back to the front entrance of the Dakota. To him, it was a blink of an eye, okay? What happened that night, to John, it happens in a millisecond, and he's back, but only 40 years later. He's still a 40-year-old man, but now it's 2020. Try to think about that. In an instant, he's here, all right? Picture what the ramifications of that would be. What would the media's reaction be? What would the public's reaction be to John reappearing? Would there be skeptics? Would people believe him? Would they have to do testing to determine it was really John? I mean, all these things will be answered in St. John Lennon, how the story progresses. But imagine this. Imagine John coming back and being able to meet with Yoko again and have time with her. Have time with her and speak to her again. Imagine a reunion with Paul and Ringo. And I'm not just talking potentially a musical one. I won't say whether there is or isn't one in here. Let me just say there's a good chance. But the personal meeting with Paul, the embracing, the warmth, seeing an old friend again. How would Ringo feel if he was able to speak to John again and be with him again? How would Sean and Julian, his two sons, react to seeing their father and having time with him again? What would they talk about? What would they do? Okay? It's a very touching time travel fantasy story, folks. I know we wish it could be real, but I'll tell you, when you're reading this, you get lost in it. Just, set aside, reality and the way things are in the world and just go with it, and you'd really enjoy this book. Okay? I mean, picture John coming back and having been brought up to speed on current technology and what's out there now. There's not only smartphones now and all this other fandangled stuff that he would have never experienced, but, by 2020, holograms have been developed more. Maybe there's self-driving cars like we have now. I mean, maybe now they're more commercially available. We'll see how he reacts to things like that. What would John do as far as, what would his goals be if he could come back? Would he want to continue his work towards world peace when he sees the state of the world in 2020? Would he do other things? I'm not going to tell you. Sorry. Not going to give it all away. Okay? Picture some other things he does. Controversial meetings. Okay? There is one controversial meeting in this book with an individual who, I don't even want to say who the individual's name is, but I think you know who he may be. The person that took everything away from John. What would happen if John could speak to that person? Okay, what would happen? How would he react? All right, I'm not going to go much further than that because I don't want to ruin things for you in case you really want to get into this book, and I really recommend you do. It's a nice time travel trip, folks. I'm telling you, it's a nice story. And how about some other controversial meetings, what do you think about John meeting with the President of the United States? How would John react? How would the President react? Do you think John can maybe have an influence on certain people in the world today? Perhaps. You'll have to get the book to check it out. But I'll tell you, this book has it all, folks. It has so many cool passages in it. It's just unbelievable. The fantasy, the letting your mind go for a minute, letting your imagination go, suspending disbelief and just go with it, folks. What if it could happen? And I'll tell you, it's an entertaining, fun read. Really enjoyable. Okay? Could you imagine John and Paul perhaps having another writing session? What would they do? How would they work together? It's in the book. You'll get to see what happens. What could happen between those two guys if they got together again, put their heads together. Okay? What about this with John and Paul? Picture them making, remember way back in 1976, I believe it was, John and Paul were going to drive down to the Saturday Night Live studios and do an unannounced visit, and they got tired of something and just decided to sit back and hang and not go. You know, oh my goodness, I wish they had done that. Well, if you want to see what could happen if they have the chance again to do that, it's in the book. Check it out. How about meeting with Pope Francis? What do you think about that if John had a chance to meet with Pope Francis and talk to him? It sounds crazy, folks. You might be saying, come on, Matt. You know, but what did I tell you at the beginning? If you're into fantasy, if you're into science fiction, if you're into time travel stories, and Beatles, John Lennon and the Beatles, folks, it's a great, great book. I'm telling you. And get it now. Amazon.com. Okay? Or go to www.stjohnlennon.com and check it out. I'm telling you, I highly recommend it. I think it's cool. And these people are very approachable. The authors, Daniel and Roseanne, you could shoot them an email and talk to them and thank them for such a wonderful fantasy trip ride. You know, I mean, they're great people. So, again, folks, St. John Lennon by Daniel Hartwell with Roseanne Batone. Get it, Amazon. Go to the website, again, www.stjohnlennon.com, and check it out. Folks, this was fun. This took me away from day-to-day life, and I read it in one or two sittings. It was so engrossing and so fun to imagine if this could happen. Just imagine. God bless, take care, and all the best. Bye-bye.